All praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem Rachak Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom, salutations to the hopeful elect that's fighting the good fight of faith and truth in sincerity and wholeheartedly. Shalom to the Akwath, which is the women believers. Shalom to you. All praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai. As you see on the screen, all right, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm right around this area. All right. And as we listen to this video, I love that they keep trying to push criminals and possible terrorists and things like that to justify bringing martial law, which we've been telling you that it's going to come. So eventually the fire will ignite.
A new report from Politico citing unnamed current and former Trump administration officials saying the surge could happen at the same time or soon after similar operations in Chicago this month, following President Trump's federal law enforcement crackdown in Washington, D.C.
Groceries are becoming more expensive, housing is harder to build, and all of this is connected to a federal administration that is targeting the very people who built our country and our...
Now, another thing, too, it said that an increase in ICE surge. What is ICE all about? Going after the tribes. So this is why it's really about to get hot and sticky out here. People keep thinking that it's a game. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. The Lord not just writing this because, oh, this is bars, this is fire. Oh, yeah, I like that verse right there. Spit that. See, people think that it's a game. It's about to get real. Right now, we are under the test runs. You see how Esau do it. Esau like to do test runs. Just like the pandemic was a test run. He wanted to see how far he can get people to go. Since he's seen that he can get people to take snake venom, he's like, oh, yeah, and I can have people wear masks. All right, stand 6 feet away from each other. Oh, yeah, I got them right where I want them. Okay, so now I know that all I got to do is threaten a little livelihood, things like that, and they'll bow down. So just like what they did in Washington, D.C., and Chicago supposed to be next. Now they talking about Boston. All right, this is the beginning. This is the beginning.
You know what? I think it's disrespectful to local and state law enforcement who work hard every day. And what we need from the Trump administration is funding for cops.
Shut up, Peggy. See, she look at them eyes. That is what you call an Edomite. Okay? She don't give a damn about, immigrants being deported. She just don't want troops in her street. Because this is their country. All right, that's all. She don't give a damn. But this is what all this is going to hit. All right, eventually the fire will ignite. So it said the sword enter destruction draw of 9. One people should stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. So all these years we've been reading these scriptures and we finally seeing it come to pass, man. So beautiful. Oops. Well. Let me get it like this. And these scriptures right here, they so plain and so detailed that the Lord, you don't even have to break it down. So verse 16, for there should be sedition among men, because what's going to happen is that all it is, troops being in the street, is going to cause the people to do an uprising. And it says, invading one another, they should not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions stand in their power. So that's all hell breaking loose. Ain't no law in that day. Ain't nobody going to care about the law in that day. And guess what? That's going to cause martial law. A man should desire to go into a city, should not be able, because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The Lord is the one that's going to destroy these cities because of your pride. And the scripture says the beginning of pride is when one's heart go away from his maker. All right. When one's heart depart from his maker. So when you don't acknowledge God in all your thoughts, when you only time you think about God is when trouble, and then you don't even think about the right God, you thinking of some pink God, an Edomite god, a Jesus, stringy hair and shit. All right. So yeah, the Lord, he got something for you. Matter of fact, when you go back 7 chapters, 2nd Esdras 8 and 50, it said many great miseries shall happen to them in the later time because they have walked in great pride. It said the houses shall be destroyed. Men shall be afraid. Man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. So all of this is going to cause, the love of many waxing cold. When there's a war, famine usually always follow that. Disease actually follows it too. So it's a correlation with war, pestilence, and famine. Like the Lord said, the beginning of sorrows. So it says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, spoil their goods, because why? The lack of bread and great tribulation. So these things are going to happen.
For community policing, funding for law enforcement.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem responding to questions with Boston specifically named during an interview on Face the Nation on Sunday.
Are you planning beyond Chicago to expand these kinds of operations to other cities? There have been reports, for example, that Boston may very well soon be next.
I think there's a lot of cities that are dealing with crime and violence right now. And
see, crime and violence. I live, okay? I ain't gonna say where I live, but I live in this area, okay? So the point is, it's not a lot of crime and violence. Now, where I'm from, there is actual crime and violence. Here is not crime and violence. You got crime and violence everywhere though, but Boston is not a dangerous place like where you need martial law troops, okay? Chicago is, but not Boston. So just for Boston to be, part of the cities, that lets you know that they're just going wherever the tribes is. Because I will say Boston is one of the most diverse cities in the United States. Everybody here and all the tribes, a lot of them too. All right. So this is why the Lord said, what's that? I think it's 68. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you, and they shall take certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Because we all know what this is going to lead to. People being grabbed up, as it says in Revelation 2 and 10. Being cast into prison, tried for 10 days, be faithful unto death, and I'll give you a crown of life. And also within you being in there for 10 days, it said things offer unto idols. That is the chip. Okay? Anybody try to get you to eat pork? See, this is all for concerning the men of the Lord, because that's who the word is written for. Okay? The Lord foreknew, understood that the elect was going to take heed to these words. But the book is for Israel. All right, but the elect is one that's going to take heed, and all of this is the beginning of sorrows, man. So it says the beginning of sorrows and great mournings. Now remember, this is the chapter over. So after you got the people fighting with swords in their hand, martial law. After that, at that time, it ain't going to be stopped. It's really going to be a domino effect. Because at that time, you got to imagine, people fighting with swords in their hand, right? The modern day sword is guns. So that means a lot of people shooting at each other, a lot of people getting hit, a lot of people dying, a lot of people injured. You got basically the military is fighting against the citizens now. At the same time, you're going to have people fighting against regular people because of lack of bread. So it's like the Lord, he is the one that's going to, cause all hell to break loose. He's going to put fierce spirit on people, man. Remember, because then you got to go to Isaiah 19 that said the Egyptians versus the Egyptians, which is also known as Americans versus Americans. Then you also have, because our people sadly don't hate Edomites as much as Edomites hate us. So they is waiting for any type of leeway to take Jake out. And of course, Jake is going to get some wins. Going to get a couple of scrimmages here and there. But that's why it's called Jacob's trouble. So all these nations is going to make us the enemy. So the beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils, what shall I do when these evils shall come? And it's trust in the Lord. Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for the amendment. So the Lord is doing this as punishment. And at this time, it's too late. That's why the scripture says, but for all these things, they should not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. So when these things start to happen, they ain't going to say God is doing it. Matter of fact, this world is so spiritualist, they ain't even going to say Satan is doing it. People is just gone. I'm talking about no spirit at all. Now, you might have some Christians to be like, oh, this is Satan. You know, Jesus. You know how they say, Jesus, come save us. But that's as far as the spirituality goes. But for the most part, Jake is through. You know, Jake, you know, they whatever spirituality that they had because of the devil perverting our book and changing the truth into a lie. Our people lost hope in the Bible. Now most of our people say, oh, that's the white man's book, even though the Bible condemned the so-called white man. And, you know, oh, man wrote that because, you know, it required you to have discipline. So, yeah, so our people got a whole bunch of excuses of not coming into this thing fully. So, we've been telling you for the longest, and these days are finally approaching. All praises to Yahweh Bashem Avushai. And when this cometh to pass, and Lord will come, then you should know there was a prophet among you. Shalom.